right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and today we're talking about, well, the productivity metric is a falsehood for shop efficiency. Now, productivity, i.e. hours you've billed, dollars you've billed, etc., is probably the most used metric in auto repair. It just is. Whether you're on flat rate or anything else, that's how they judge most techs. And it's a problematic metric. Now, let me explain this. Before anybody starts commenting, all the shop gurus, not every shop does this, but most do. So lots of other shops look at other things, but still the number one metric is, well, how much did they make me? And it's problematic in many ways. One of the biggest problems with that is inefficiencies in the shop that are not related to the technician. And this is something I've harped on for years, is a technician can only be as efficient as the systems around him, how fast he gets parts, how much his workload is, et cetera, et cetera. So judging a technician purely on their productivity, like I said, is problematic. So one of the biggest things a lot of shop owners want to do is get out of the shop and manage remotely, meaning they work on their business while somebody else manages the day-to-day operations. Now, again, I'm going to preface this as it isn't necessarily a horrible thing in some cases, but in other ways, it can be very problematic. And that's the reason I'm bringing it up. Is that shop owner will not see the problems that happen in the shop being remote. He won't see those inefficiencies. He won't hear from the technician that he's standing around waiting on parts. That's why I bring this up, is not to hate on shop owners that work remotely. It's just a fact of life of being a remote shop owner, is you're not going to see some of the stuff I'm going to talk about. You know, let's say technician A is the shop manager's golden boy. And during the course of a repair, he breaks a part. Shop manager goes, oh, I need to get him back up and running. He's my buddy. So he sends a porter across town to go pick up that part so he can get back to work in like an hour. Let's say technician B has the exact same situation. Breaks a part in the middle of a repair. Instead of sending the porter to go pick it up, he goes, oh yeah, it'll be here at the end of the day. And of course, you know, dealership deliveries being dealership deliveries, it doesn't get there till the next day and he's kind of dead. You know, let's talk about other inefficiencies that impact that productivity number. Let's take those same two techs. The shop doesn't have a dedicated, you know, oil change kit, and well, temperatures have dropped considerably here in Atlanta, and well, everybody's got TPMS lights on. And for, you know, all the cold temperatures, that technician is getting pulled off multiple times a day to adjust air pressure. That technician B, that's not the shop manager's buddy, gets pulled off his tickets constantly to adjust tire pressure. That's an inefficiency for that technician. He's being dinged on his productivity on things that are outside of his control. He's being told he needs to do this. So that productivity number is going to be affected and his paycheck is going to be affected, but you can't see that on a computer screen. You can't see all those cars he topped off air pressure on because they didn't get a ticket written. And as a remote shop owner, you'll just see a huge drop in his productivity and you don't know why. And that can cause other problems. You know, again, the shop manager is manipulating the system and he's killing a technician's productivity because he can. And that's one of the problems with using that metric. Now, shop owner recently was talking about his technicians every month had to hit a number. And now, in fairness to him, he talked about looking at the rest of the system. So I'm giving him credit, Roman. But I don't like the number, but you know, that's besides the point, is because numbers vary considerably based on just the kind of jobs you get, you know, and his was a number across the board of all of his techs. Well, we all know numbers can get skewed really easy, you know, especially if a shop's not billing diagnostics properly, you know, we've all been there where we get diagnostics that just kick our butts for like a month. Nothing is easy, little quick code scan, quick testing, done, sell part. It's, chasing down a wire, chasing down a system that's not making sense, etc. But anyway, that's one of the problems when it comes to looking at strictly the number of output is so many factors in a shop can cause that inefficiency. Let's say technician A doesn't care if you buy Dorman parts and, he sticks them on there. You have a bunch of warranty, but because you account for warranty, his productivity stays high, even though he's doing the job 2 or 3 times. Or technician B that insists on OEM and has to wait a long time can affect his productivity simply because he's waiting for a part. I'm well established. I hate waiters. They're not good for a shop to stay efficient, especially if they're brought in all day long and technicians have to be pulled off. They only have one bay, especially, and they have to take a car off a lift, re-rack it, put the car outside. Don't get me started on the waiter problem of, oh yeah, and then put them off for 2 days because you captured the car, but that's another video I already did. Yes, that happens where the whole point of getting a waiter in is to capture the car so you can send him home. And then, it's going to be like 6 hours before we get it done. And it's 2 days. Or bringing a car in for previous wrecks and not having any chance of getting the car done for a week, but they know because they've captured the car and they can delay the customer, they keep the car and they keep the money, but that's another subject. But again, stuff like that eats away at a technician's productivity, and a remote manager especially will not see that. They'll just see, oh, technician B's productivity keeps dropping. We're going to have a meeting about that. That remote owner, he's going to just see that technician's productivity dropping and dropping and dropping. And they're going to talk to their shop manager and, oh yeah, he's spending way too much time on his phone or giving excuses because he doesn't want to admit that he's tilting it towards his buddy, which I'm sorry, favoritism happens. It happens in a lot of shops where they try to feed the good tech or their buddy or whatever. And all of a sudden that technician B is getting sanctions because, well, stuff's out of his control. And a lot of people are not as vocal as me. A lot of people will just, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. And won't voice that they're getting screwed on a daily basis because, well, toxic employees get fired. Shop managers, shop owners don't see it from the technician side in most cases. They don't see that it's hard for a lot of people to voice their opinion. A fact of the matter is most employees are not going to voice their opinion. They're going to keep it to themselves. That's not me personally. That's research. Most people will not voice problems to their superiors, period. That's why those numbers can be so bad for your overall shop health, is simply because it's so easy for somebody in authority to manipulate them. Keep screwing a same tech, keep screwing a same tech. I don't like that guy. I want to get rid of him. We'll keep screwing him. Simple things like, oh, give it to him. He's not that busy, and dragging his numbers continually down. It's not hard to see that happen in a shop. Watch it. The kid that's willing to take anything, and, you keep screwing them with that tire repair, that quick oil change of a customer with a 2022, 24, you keep handing him stuff that isn't going to make him hours. And all of a sudden his productivity, going back to the shop owner that put a number, you do a bunch of oil changes that are on brand new cars, your number is going to tank hard. And, just in that circumstance, I don't like the number itself, is depending on a technician's position in the shop, that number is going to be very different. The really efficient heavy line guy should blow that number away. A diagnostic guy that's, getting bogged down with communication faults, if they're not billing properly, his numbers will drop like a rock. the young kid that's doing basic work, and all of a sudden you're flooded with late model cars that don't need much of anything, or simply you don't build properly for, oh, just do that real quick, no big deal, you know, putting a bulb in a car or something like that. That's not hard. And it makes that technician look like he's not doing his job simply because you looked at his numbers. Numbers don't tell the whole story. Now, again, I said earlier that not every shop looks like that, but most only care about that number, only care about the dollar amount they bill for them. And that's the problem, because chances are if you have a technician in a shop that does his job well, but his numbers are low, you need to look at how his day goes. You need to look at his individual tickets. You need to look at what's going on with his day. Is he twiddling his thumbs? You know, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of techs that will spend their day on their phone, goofing off. It happens. It happens in every kind of industry. Now, on the same side of it, that technician with low productivity, it might be his problem. It might be he's slacking off. He's watching his phone too much. He's arguing with his girlfriend. He's, you know, just goofing off. But if you only look at that number of productivity and don't look at how his day progresses, let's look at a remote shop owner and a technician that may or may not be slacking off. His productivity numbers are not good. Pull up the camera, see him on his phone playing video games or whatever, and the shop owner's first thought is, oh, we got to deal with this, and blaming the tech. The problem is if he looked at his computer screen, he'd see that technician has all of his tickets are on hold, and he hasn't had anything else assigned to him. So he's on hold for everything. He doesn't have anything to do. His bays are clean, etc. But if you just look at the productivity number in that camera, he's slacking off. He literally just doesn't have anything to do. And that's one of the reasons I don't like remote management, because you can't see that kind of stuff day to day. If you're sitting there watching the cameras all day and you see him, you know, messaging the boss going, I need more cars, see him, you know, walking up front going, we got anything else? And he's trying to do more stuff. It's not his fault. But if you're just looking at a computer screen and productivity numbers, you'll never know that. Hope this was helpful. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.